If you put me on a skateboard, you're asking for trouble. I would probably wind up taking a trip to the emergency room, which nobody wants to do these days. I can barely walk in a straight line, especially at my age, but I always wanted to get into skateboarding. I had this love of it for a long time, going all the way back really to my Commodore 64 days in the middle and late 1980s, playing Skate or Die, for example, which I really enjoyed. A version of that came out for the NES as well, plus I played California games for the Commodore 64 and later on for the NES as well. But my love of skateboarding games really began in 1997 with the release of Top Sk8er in arcades from Sega. Top Sk8er, for those of you that don't know, is a big arcade cabinet that has a skateboard peripheral that you actually stand on, and you pull off tricks by kicking the tail while you're on the top of a ramp, and you pull off some really crazy tricks depending on when you're timing your jump off the top of the ramp. It is easy to play but difficult to master. I always would play the rookie course, and I thought I was the coolest because I could pull off all of these crazy tricks to a soundtrack that featured Pennywise of all bands, a group that I would get into later on. So that was 1997. Then in 1999 we got this. This is Street Sk8er for the PlayStation, a game that I opened up on this show in October of 2019. Street Sk8er is very much like Top Sk8er, but for the home. This was published by Electronic Arts. Street Sk8er is a very limited skate park kind of deal where you're almost on rails when you're going through a certain path from point A to point B. When you get to the top of a ramp, you have to press a directional button and the jump button in order to pull off some kind of trick. Depending on how fast you were going and depending on how leveled up your character was, you could pull off crazier and crazier tricks as you went on. There were some grind tricks too, but I really just look forward to doing the vert stuff. That's what I was really into. I played the heck out of this game, not to mention the fact that you could put the CD here into a compact disc player and you could listen to the soundtrack on a CD player to your heart's content. Of course, you don't need to do that now. You can basically just look up the soundtrack and listen to it on Apple Music or Spotify or whatever. Back in 1999, being able to do that was a really cool deal. And if I'm being completely honest, when I first started doing karaoke shows in the early 2000s, I actually would bring this disc with me and I would play some of the songs from this soundtrack to basically serve as bumper music in between people who were singing. So I love this game. I am a big fan of this game. Then, of course, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater would come out, I believe, in September of 1999, and then everything changed. But this game sold well enough that we get to the subject of this episode of Unsealed, and we are going to open up a sealed copy of the sequel, Street Sk8er 2. This was also developed by Microcabin for the PlayStation and published by Electronic Arts. This is from the year 2000. Now, in 2000, of course, we got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, which many consider to be the pinnacle of the series. I believe that Thrasher Skate and Destroy was a thing. I believe that Grind Session was also right around this time. So skateboarding games were definitely popular. But this was the sequel that I was really looking forward to. After all, I like the original game, so why wouldn't I like the sequel? And it kind of makes sense. Dream it, build it, skate it. So now with this game, you can build your own skate park, something that you could not do in the original game. There was also a bit more freedom in terms of the skate parks. So there were more places you could go, there were more tricks you could pull off. It seemed like it was a cool idea. And if you look at the feature sets, and I'll kind of show you what the feature sets are there. I'm going to try and tilt this so that you can see everything. Hopefully the autofocus will kind of fix itself. But listen to these features. It sounds good. Turn an abandoned warehouse into your own personal skate park with bowls, pipes, rails, and more. Create your own custom skate parks. Easy to select, scroll, and skate. Save on a memory card. Skate in a friend's game. Smash through windows, break furniture, set off car alarms, and more. So now you're getting into like the nonconformist, almost like rebellious side of skateboarding, right? Pro and amateur trick systems for 2 levels of challenge. Skate halfpipes, bowls, big air, parks, and city streets. Compete in 10 events or free skate anywhere. Multiplayer competition, 2-way split screen, pool duel minigame, 4-player serial play. This all sounds great, right? Killer sounds from the Deftones, Ministry, Shooty's Groove, Static X, Show Off, Citizen King, 8 Stop 7, Chick Magnets, and Del the Funky Homo Sapien. So you have a great soundtrack too. This all sounds so good. Yeah, unfortunately, the reality of the situation was this sequel was not great. And if we're being honest, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater had completely dominated skateboarding games by this time. It was great to have the sequel around, but honestly, this game never had a chance. And even games like Grind Session, for example, which is a blatant Tony Hawk ripoff, and another game that I've opened on this show, that game even fared better than this. But this is still an interesting curiosity and one that we're going to open up here on Unsealed today. So without further delay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to try and get this guy open. I don't know how successful I'm going to be, because opening PlayStation games on camera can be a little dicey. There we go. So we've got... Here we go. I can't go back now. There we go. So I'll take the plastic off. Sorry, the camera's going kind of crazy. And we do have, and I'm trying to hold it so the camera can see it. We do have the Street Sk8er 2 ID label. There we go. We're going to take that off right here. This looks like the case has been in the sun for a while. It looks a little washed out. It's not as brilliant as the Street Sk8er cover. So when I got this from Amazon for a really good price. I think I got it for like $20. And that's not bad for a brand new PlayStation game. Looking at eBay for this, they were asking like $50. The sellers were, and I really didn't want to pay it for this, so it was nice to be able to get this for cheaper. When we open up the case unfortunately is broken, which I guess isn't a surprise. So we have the broken case here. We do have a little bit of a catalog in here. We'll look at that in just a minute. This is what the Street Sk8er disc looks like. It has that green and gray background there, which I really like. I'm a big fan of green. I will have to try and find another case for this. So we'll take a look at the catalog first. That's this guy right here. Fall 1999 action lineup. Feel the adrenaline. You got Goldberg there on the front. You have Pierce Brosnan, and you have a dinosaur. So we definitely have a lot going on here. WCW Mayhem and Tomorrow Never Dies. Those are the first two games that are listed. We also have, in this, we have Medal of Honor. Medal of Honor, absolutely fantastic. That is a game that I really like playing on the GX TV to show off its sound capability. We also have Xena Warrior Princess, a game that I have, and I really don't have much to say about it. Hot Wheels Turbo Racing, which has some Metallica on the soundtrack. We also have Jurassic Park Warpath, so we have those two games right there. Street Sk8er and Sledstorm. Sledstorm, the game that basically if you heard Dragula by Rob Zombie a million times, you hadn't heard it enough. That was in Sledstorm. That's a snowmobiling racing game. Need for Speed High Stakes. Wow, what a cool game that is in V-Rally 2. Those games being advertised. So 1999, a great year for PlayStation games from EA. Road Rash 3D, ESPN X Games Snowboarding, which has some Foo Fighters, and we also have The Lost World Special Edition and Need for Speed Most Wanted, or I'm sorry, is that Most Wanted? Yeah, Need for Speed 3, I believe that's Most Wanted. And finally, we have Future Cop and Small Soldiers. So we have a lot of stuff in this particular catalog, but that's not what we're looking at. We are looking at the manual to Street Sk8er. That on the back cover has the album covers from some of the bands in the game. Kind of show that off a little bit. Hopefully the autofocus will catch it. There it is. It's in black and white, which is not a surprise for PlayStation manuals. This is pretty much the norm. Talking about the play controls and, of course, showing what the system looks like, because I don't know why you don't know what a PlayStation looks like, but there you go. Getting started. So you have memory card, controller, sound options, trick camera, high score and exit. The different modes are competition, which is basically like the walkthrough of the game. Free skate, so you can play any of the stages. Multiplayer, pool duel, and create a park. I guess that's really like the big feature here is create a park. Competition runs are in normal, street, and vert. Street, it's just you in the street courses. There's no opportunity to gain extra time, so that's fine. Vert, you must reach the set point value in order to clear each stage, so that's fine too. Get off there. There we go. Sorry about that. There was a bug climbing on the microphone, which is disgusting. By the way, here in New England, it is not as bad as the Pacific Northwest tonight, but it's still in the low 80s, and dew point is like in the low 70s, so it is really bad outside. I don't blame the bugs for wanting to come in here. So you can select the skater. The skaters have a much more stylized look to them than they did in the original Street Sk8er game, at least in terms of the character designs. You choose a course, and away you go. It is generally the same idea in terms of the easier trick setting, where it's basically just pressing the X button in a direction. I'm wondering if they give how to do tricks in the pro setting. Manual trick controls. Skate up a quarter pipe or ramp, hold X to power up, then release X to jump. While in the air, press the D button, left, right, up, or down, and the square, triangle, or circle buttons, and you can add rotations by pressing L1 or R1. Kick tricks, oh wow, that's much more complicated than it needs to be, and it's certainly no Tony Hawk. For me, I like automatic trick controls when I play this game. It's just because I look at it pretty much as an arcade skating experience, so for me, that's good enough. But you can certainly play manual tricks if you want to learn the ins and outs, but the manual doesn't really give you a lot, and it's not the most... It's not the easiest to learn, let's put it that way. Building your own park. There are 4 skaters, that's it. You got Danny, Drew, Michaela, and Connor. You got competition street stages in Washington, D.C., London, Moscow, Miami, and San Francisco. And yeah, that's pretty much what you got to work with here. The music credits, again, that might be one of the highlights of the game here. You got some Deftones, My Own Summers here. Push It by Static X, great stuff. Also, where is it here? Better Days by Citizen King. Again, this is in like 2000. I remember hearing that song quite a bit, so that's one of the reasons when I play the game I actually enjoy listening to that. It takes me back 20 plus years to when that song was popular. 8-Stop-7, My Would Be Savior, another song that I used to love listening to on this soundtrack, as well as Satisfied. So 8-Stop-7 and Static X and Deftones automatically make this one of the better soundtracks, at least in my opinion, for a skateboarding game. So there you go. That is a look at Street Sk8er 2. Unfortunately, like I said, the disc case is not in great shape, so I have to try and get another case. But here it is, Street Sk8er 2. So I now have both games that I can play at will, and I probably will at some point as we go through summer. As always, I thank you very much for watching this episode of Unsealed. I really do appreciate it. Thanks very much for subscribing to the channel, those of you that have. Plenty of Unsealed videos, more than 180 for you to catch up on if you're so interested, and we'll certainly be adding more content throughout the summer and beyond. Until the next time, my friends, please take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll do this again really, really soon.